You don't forget the little lies. They hang in the air long after they're spoken, light as fog, heavy as stone. I'm meeting Claire at that new tapas place. You remember Claire, right? The one from Pilates? That's what she told me. Just another Thursday night. Just another evening where her lipstick was a little too precise and her phone a little too quiet. I nodded, told her to have fun. Watched her walk out the door in those heels that never made it home hurting. I almost believed her because I wanted to. Because believing was easier than knowing. But I knew something didn't add up. The restaurant she mentioned, it's mine. She didn't know. That was the part that hurt more than it should have. That she didn't know me well enough anymore to remember I owned that place. It's not in my name. Never has been. When I opened it 5 years ago, I buried it under a holding company for liability reasons. I wanted it clean, quiet. A private pride project, not part of the empire everyone sees. So when she told me she was headed there, something in me twisted. A slow turn of something sharp. I waited an hour, then logged into the security system from my phone. The cameras in the dining area aren't hidden. They're there for safety, quality control, theft deterrence. But that night, they were my mirror. My reckoning. There she was. Table in the corner. Candlelight catching the gold in her hair. She was laughing. Not polite, not strained. The kind of laugh she hadn't given me in months. The kind that used to echo in our hallway when we were still real. And she wasn't with Claire. He was young. Younger than me by a decade, maybe more. Designer sneakers, sharp jawline. The kind of casual confidence you only get when you think the world owes you something. He reached across the table, touched her hand. She didn't flinch. They split a bottle of red. Not the house wine, but the imported one from Spain we only serve on request. She knew that. She knew that because we'd shared it the night we opened the place. Our night. And now she was there, toasting someone else, swirling the glass like it meant nothing. I watched them for 43 minutes. Long enough to see her laugh. Lean in. Play with her hair. Long enough to see her mouth. I missed you across the table, clear as day, captured in 1080p clarity. I didn't scream. Didn't throw the phone. I just stared until the screen went black, until my reflection replaced hers. You can lie with words, but cameras don't blink. I didn't say anything that night, or the next, or the week after. I went on like nothing had changed, because, truth be told, everything had already changed long before that footage. I saw it in the way she stopped kissing me goodbye, in the silence during dinner, in the quiet relief that crossed her face when I canceled plans. It wasn't always like that. We met during a blackout, believe it or not. New York, summer heat wave, everything went dark. I ducked into a candlelit bar, the only place still serving drinks. She was there, sitting alone, writing in a leather-bound notebook. She looked up, smiled like she knew me. You look like a whiskey neat kind of guy. She was right. That night, we talked until the ice melted. We fell in love fast, fast enough to feel dangerous, but safe enough to believe. She said she wanted something real. I built that for her, brick by brick. A home, a future, a life that didn't need proving. But somewhere along the way, I think she outgrew the version of me she helped shape. Or maybe she never really wanted permanence, just the illusion of it. So I made a decision. The next time she left the house, I called the restaurant manager. Derek, I said, pull the footage from Thursday night. Save it to an external drive. Mark it private. Lock it in the office safe. He didn't ask questions. He's been with me since day one. Knows when not to talk. Then I called my lawyer. Not to file for divorce. Not yet. Just to start preparing. To get the books in order. To move what needed moving. To protect what was mine. See, when you've built your life on understanding people, investors, partners, employees, you learn to read signs long before they speak. And when your wife forgets that the place she's lying about is owned by the man she shares a bed with, you start seeing just how blind love can make you. But I wasn't blind anymore. The tipping point came 2 weeks later. Another Pilates night. Same lipstick. Different dress. This time I followed her. I didn't trail her in some cliché way, ducking behind lampposts. I just waited until she left, then pulled up the cameras again. There they were. Same table, same man. Only this time, she kissed him when he walked in. Not a peck. Not a friend's hug. A kiss with history. I watched until they ordered dessert. I know the menu. I wrote it. When she recommended the orange vanilla panna cotta, I remembered the night I first made it for her at home. She said it tasted like summer and trust. Now she was feeding it to someone else with a spoon. That night, I slept in the guest room. She didn't notice. The next morning, I made breakfast like always. Eggs, toast, berries. She came in wearing one of my old t-shirts, the kind she used to steal on Sundays. Morning, she said. I nodded. Sleep okay? You? Yeah, I said. Dreamt of fire. She laughed. Weird, but I wasn't joking. I started withdrawing emotionally. Not as a punishment, but as preparation. I didn't want revenge. I wanted reality. I wanted truth to land where her lies had lived. Every moment after that felt like theater. Her texts, her smiles, her requests to borrow the car, each one loaded with subtext. And through it all, I had the footage. Every frame. I never told her. Never hinted. Just lived with it, like a photograph of something you wish you never saw, but can't throw away. It became my quiet proof. Not for court. Not even for closure. Just for me. Because when someone rewrites the story of your love, you need a record that says, no, this is what really happened. She still doesn't know I own that restaurant. Doesn't know I watched her fall in love with someone else over creme brulee I designed. She doesn't know the footage is mine. Forever. And part of me doesn't want to tell her. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because sometimes the most powerful truth is the one you never speak, the one you just know, and the one they'll never see coming. I started counting the nights she didn't come home when she said she would. Not out loud, not on a calendar, just in my head. A quiet tally. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Each time she offered an explanation so smooth, I almost admired it. Traffic. Wine with the girls. Lost track of time. And every time, I nodded like I believed her. Like I didn't have the footage. Like I hadn't already watched her hand on his knee under my candlelight. That was the hardest part, pretending. Pretending I still thought she was who she used to be. Pretending I didn't see the change in her eyes when she looked at me. They used to be wide with questions, full of that early wonder. But now, they were distant. Calculated. Like she was waiting for a reason to leave, but hadn't found one that made her look innocent. I gave her every opportunity to tell me. I asked her if she was happy. I asked her if there was something we should talk about. I asked her, gently, over coffee one morning, are we still in this together? She looked up from her phone, smiled. Of course, babe. Don't be weird. Don't be weird. Like love wasn't burning at the edges. Like I hadn't been watching it turn to ash, one table reservation at a time. I didn't confront her with the video. Not because I couldn't. Because I wouldn't. Not yet. I needed more than evidence. I needed to understand. How long? Why him? What had changed? And hardest of all, what had I missed? It's easier to believe someone broke your heart out of malice. But I couldn't see her that way. Not completely. There were still memories that made me soft. Her singing in the kitchen, her head on my chest in the mornings, the way she used to trace circles on my palm when she couldn't sleep. Was it all a lie? Or did something real rot along the way? I started looking into him. The guy. His name was Mark. No K. Of course. Fitness influencer. Real estate dabbler. One of those guys who makes you feel like you're underdressed, even when you're not. His Instagram was full of mirror selfies and motivational captions. Poses with rented Lamborghinis. Hashtags about grinding and greatness and hustle. But I saw the tags. My restaurant. My city. The timestamps matched the footage. He wasn't a stranger passing through. He was here. Regularly. And she was the common thread. I didn't hate him. That surprised me. He was a symptom, not the disease. She invited him into the part of her life that used to be mine. That was her choice. Still, I watched his stories like a man watching his own eulogy. She showed up in one of them, briefly, her hand brushing the side of his face. A flash. Gone. But I saw it. 2 weeks after I started watching, I made a decision. I called Derek again. I need a private table booked under my name. Saturday. The one in the corner. You mean her table? He asked quietly. Yes. You want me to clear the schedule? No, I said. Let them come. Just hold it until I get there. He paused. Are you sure? I wasn't. But I said, yeah, I'm sure. That Saturday, I arrived early. Not in disguise. Not with bravado. Just as myself. In the jacket she bought me last Christmas, the cologne she used to bury her face in. I sat down at their table. The server approached, wide-eyed. You want your usual, sir? No, I said. Tonight, I want what she orders. Same wine. Same dessert. He blinked. Nodded. Left. And I waited. At 7:42 p.m., the door opened. She stepped in with him, laughing, her hand on his shoulder. Dressed like she was still dating me. The heels. The gold necklace I gave her on our anniversary. When she saw me, the blood drained from her face. Mark was clueless, probably thought I was just another customer. He led her forward. She hesitated. Then she whispered something in his ear. They turned. Left. Didn't order. Didn't sit. Didn't even look back. I didn't chase her. Didn't text. Didn't call. I just stayed. Ate the meal. Drank the wine. Let the silence settle like dust in a room nobody enters anymore. She didn't come home that night. When she finally did, the next morning, she was quiet. I was in the kitchen, sipping coffee, reading nothing on my screen. Just staring. She stood in the doorway. Her eyes red. Her voice small. You followed me. I shook my head. No. You brought yourself there. A pause. Her lip trembled. How long have you known? Long enough. She leaned against the counter, looking older than I remembered. I didn't mean for it to happen. That line. The oldest lie in the book. Yes, you did, I said. You chose it. Over and over. Silence again. Only the hum of the fridge between us. You spied on me, she said, sharper now, grasping for control. I own the restaurant, I said flatly. You forgot. Her mouth opened. Closed. That was the moment. The crack in her story. The realization that I hadn't trapped her. She'd just been careless. Why didn't you say something? I looked at her. Really looked. I wanted to remember you before this. Before I only saw lies. That week, I began moving out. Not with fury. With precision. She cried. She apologized. She tried. But I was already gone. Not legally. Not publicly. But emotionally. I'd left the night she fed panna cotta to a stranger in the place I built for us. I didn't take much. Just the things that couldn't be replaced. The photos. The letters. My name. 3 weeks later, the divorce papers came. I signed them quietly. She didn't laugh. Not like in those stories you hear. She just looked tired. She offered to talk. To explain. But there was nothing left to salvage. No truth left to build on. I didn't need her reasons. I had the footage. And she knew it now. She knew the place where her lie lived. The table, the camera, the candlelight, belonged to me. She knew I watched. She knew I kept it. It's been almost a year. Sometimes I still dream of that restaurant. Not the footage. Just the space itself. The soft hum of conversation. The scent of rosemary and wine. Her laughter, not the cruel kind, but the kind from our first year, when everything still felt like discovery. I walk by the place sometimes, just to see it from the outside. It's still mine, of course, but I keep a quiet distance now. Derek runs it. The team knows not to mention her. I don't have to tell them. The silence says enough. People always think the story ends when the truth comes out. But it doesn't. Not really. It lingers. Not in anger. That faded quicker than I expected. But in the empty spaces. In the quiet. In the way I make coffee for one now. In the way the drawer where she kept her jewelry stays empty, even though I haven't moved it. We finalized the divorce with barely a word. She didn't contest anything. I think, deep down, she knew she didn't have ground to stand on. I didn't ask for much. Didn't want the house. Didn't want revenge. I just wanted freedom, not the kind you celebrate, but the kind you feel in your chest after too many months of holding your breath. We shook hands in the lawyer's office. That was her idea. I offered a nod instead. Handshakes felt too formal for two people who once said forever. A few weeks later, she reached out. Not to apologize. Not directly. Just a message. I know I broke something I can't fix. But I hope you find someone who sees you the way I forgot to. I stared at that sentence for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not out of spite. Just because some words don't deserve a place in the present. People ask me if I've dated since. I have. A little. Nothing serious. I'm not afraid of love. I still believe in it. But I'm cautious now. I watch for signs I used to excuse. I listen better. I ask harder questions. And more than anything, I pay attention to silence. Because that's where the truth lives. Not always in the shouting, but in what isn't said. In the pauses. The glances. The changed habits that don't come with explanations. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I never checked the footage. What if I believed her? What if I kept living in the lie because it was easier than the truth? Maybe we would have lasted longer. Maybe we'd still be going through the motions. But I'd be gone either way. Just slower, smaller day by day. No, I'm grateful I saw it. Not because it gave me power, but because it gave me clarity. She lied about where she was. But the cameras didn't. She didn't know I owned the place where she met him. Now the footage is mine forever. But I don't watch it anymore. It's not about holding on to the pain. It's about remembering how easy it is to lose yourself in someone else's version of love. I'm building again now. Not a relationship. Not yet. Just a life. A quieter one. I spend more time with my friends. I cook for myself. I write things down. Journal entries. Fragments of what I've learned. Here's one I go back to a lot. Sometimes the people who promise forever are the ones who teach you how to stand alone. She taught me that. Not in the way she meant to, but in the way life often does, with shadows, not spotlights. There's one last thing I'll tell you. The footage? It's in a safe. Not for revenge. Not for proof. Just in case I ever forget how far I've come. Just in case I ever need to remember what it looked like when I finally stopped lying to myself. Because the moment I saw her there, in my restaurant, at my table, with her hands wrapped around a lie, something in me woke up. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Just truth. And that was the beginning of the rest of me.